blue waves rolled across the Aegean Sea and crashed against the shore of the island of Patmos. The wind blew around this rocky fortress. Inside a dusty cave, the Apostle John sat down to write. Most people wouldn't think that an old man living on a rocky island could be happy. But as the disciple of Jesus who had lived the longest, John had learned to find joy wherever he went. It didn't matter to him whether he lived in a cozy house or a rocky cave. He wanted only to obey God. But why was John there? Patmos was an island for prisoners, and many of them were surprised to see such a kind old man sent to be with them. However, John hadn't been sent there because he was a criminal, no, but because the Roman emperor wanted to stop John from telling people about Jesus. John wanted to obey God. Even on Patmos, John lovingly told everyone he met about Jesus. In Patmos, he made friends and converts. John was different from the other prisoners in many ways, but there was one thing he did that made everyone curious. He spent many hours writing. What was he writing? Was he complaining about the emperor? Was he writing his life story? Was he creating poetry? As a young man, John had been a disciple of Jesus. After Jesus returned to heaven, John spent the rest of his life telling people about Jesus. Now God has a special work for John to do, even though he was old and weak. You see, when Jesus was here on earth, he promised that he would prepare a place in heaven in which his followers could live with him forever. But how could they reach heaven without help? They would need special instructions to guide them through their hard times. They would need encouragement so they wouldn't lose their faith. They would need signs and markers to show them they were on the right path. God put John on Patmos to write a very important book filled with prophecies and promises. It is called the Revelation because it reveals or shows us the truth about how Jesus will come and what heaven will be like. And in it, God tells us what will happen just before Jesus returns. How will Jesus come? When Jesus came to earth as a baby, he came quietly. Only a few shepherds saw him. But when Jesus returns, he will not arrive quietly. 1 Corinthians 15:51 tells us that the trumpet will sound. 1 Thessalonians 4:16 says that the Lord will descend from heaven with a shout. And Revelation 1:7 tells us that every eye will see him. In Mark 13:26, we read that we will see Jesus coming in the clouds with great power and glory. It will be the brightest and loudest event anyone has ever seen. Bigger than the biggest fireworks shown. Every person on earth will see Jesus. What will happen when Jesus comes? When Jesus stays in the clouds, he sends his angels in every direction, north, south, east, and west, to gather up all the believers from every country in the world. The beautiful voice of Jesus will open the graves and give life to all the believers asleep in their dusty beds. Adam and Eve, Abraham and Sarah, Joshua, Ruth, David, and many more will open their eyes to see Jesus. Guardian angels stand beside the graves of those they protected. That angel who protected them in life and marked their burial place now leads them joyfully up to meet Jesus. There are living believers on earth too. They also rise to join the group of saints gathering in the air. About this time, something wonderful happens. Everyone changes. Paul wrote, "Behold, we all shall be changed." What is this change? It's the change from mortality to immortality. The old becoming young again and the sick becoming healthy. Death, sickness, fear, and old age are destroyed forever. All God's people will joyfully say, "O death, where is thy sting? O grave, where is thy victory?" As believers, we meet in the air. They begin to recognize familiar faces. Children hug their parents, husbands hug their wives, and friends hug. "You're here," someone shouts. "I've missed you so much," another says. "I'm so happy," a child giggles. For 7 days, this group travels up and past planets, stars, comets, and galaxies until they reach the gates of heaven. What will heaven be like? Paul says, "Eye has not seen, nor ear heard, neither has it entered into the heart of man the things which God has prepared for them that love him." Heaven is so wonderful that we can't even imagine it. But God has given us some clues. You can read them in the book John wrote while he was on Patmos. Revelation tells us that heaven will be a happy place without sad tears or pain. No one will ever get hungry or thirsty or tired. And when there's the New Jerusalem, it's the most beautiful city you will ever see. The New Jerusalem is a perfect square with 3 gates on each side. Each gate is made of one huge pearl, and the streets inside the city are paved with pure gold. Around the city, there are walls of gold you can see through as easily as glass. But the best part is that this is where we can find God's throne, and splashing downward from his throne flows a river so clear it looks like crystal. The tree of life stretches across this river. Its trunk is split into 2 parts, with each part growing from a different side of the river. 12 types of fruit grow from the branches of this tree, a different flavored fruit for each month of the year. While on Patmos, John faithfully penned every detail, every vision, every symbol, every promise was carefully written by John's hand. His heart thrilled with the wonderful scenes that passed before his eyes. But not once did he add any of his own thoughts. At the very end of Revelation, we finally read John's wish. "Even so, come, Lord Jesus. Is this your wish as well? I hope so."